Hello everyone, I am Adorable Heater 64. Due to the fact that I faced several complications with trying to use my regular voice to communicate how to beat the Mega Spud efficiently in this video, I am going to be using a robot to speak. I wanted to use my regular voice to speak so bad, but the whole thing turned out to be a disaster. Please keep in mind that I'm using a robot, and sometimes robots can glitch or mess up. However, I'm going to try my best to limit these complications. However, before we begin, there are a few things I'd like to mention. First of all, I think that it's important that I mention that this update came out in April of 2024, that's over a year ago. It is currently June 2025, so if you don't see this video, it's because it's being posted over a year after the update came out, and because anything YouTube views as irrelevant is bad. Now we should begin disclosing what items and blocks you'll need to bring for this adventure. But it's important that I mention that you'll need very overpowered gear to fight this boss. Because the boss you are fighting is very overpowered, you're going to need to fight fire with fire in this situation, if that makes sense. I will now provide a table of things you may need to fight the Mega Spud. Feel free to pause the video as long as you can to get the things you need. I forgot to say this earlier, but I think that it's important that I mention that this boss was implemented into Minecraft as an April Fool's joke, which is most likely why some features of this boss seem unserious. Like the fact that part of the mobs you'll need to kill to bypass its protective barrier are chickens and armadillos, which are completely harmless, and the fact that the Mega Spud can shoot fireballs. Now that that's out of the way, it's important to get into the enemies you will be facing. The first and the most minor but slightly annoying problem that you will be facing when you enter the Colosseum is the toxophene slab. If you've ever visited an ocean monument before, you'd know that these toxophene slabs work similar to guardians. Like guardians, they can use a beam attack on you as long as you are in their line of sight. When you are being affected with this beam attack, you will suffer with the poison effect until you are out of their line of sight. However, toxophene slabs will be the least of your problems as long as you have really good armor like the ones I told you to bring. These can provide great resistance against beam attacks. You can just ignore toxophene slabs because after you kill all of them they will just keep spawning, and it's going to take you at least 15 minutes to kill the Mega Spud, and you want your sword to last. The next threat you are going to be facing is the plague whales. I forgot to mention this earlier, but toxophene slabs and plague whales can stack on top of each other. Toxophene slabs can stack on top of other toxophene slabs, and plague whales can stack on top of other plague whales as many times as they want, and you have to kill them individually to get rid of all of them. Plague whales are basically the older and bigger cousin of toxophene slabs. They do all the same things as toxophene slabs, except for they're bigger. You are going to see a bunch of plague whales when you first begin to fight the Mega Spud, but as long as you have really good armor on they can't really do anything to you and you can just ignore them. But also because you want your sword to last, I wouldn't recommend going out of your way to kill these unless you have like Unbreaking 3 or something. And the last threat you're going to be facing is the Mega Spud, but I'm going to be discussing in depth how to counter it. That's literally what this video is for. But it's highly unlikely that someone would go out of their way to fight this in survival, as this is a joke boss. I forgot to say this at the beginning of the video, but the reason why I'm making this video is because iCraftMC, who is my go-to source for learning to fight bosses, never made a video about it, because I only found like 2 videos on the topic since the update came out, and for personal reference. Now it's time to get into how the boss works. When you first enter the Colosseum, the Mega Spud will deploy its protective barrier and spawn a chicken. I'm going to use the first phase of the fight as an example, and its name will change. What the boss's name is will hint at what mobs you'll need to kill to take down its protective barrier. Once you take down its protective barrier, you need to hit it as much as you can before it comes back up again, as once the Mega Spud reaches a certain number of health points, then it will bring up its protective barrier again and spawn something a little harder. This will keep happening until the Mega Spud is dead. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the Mega Spud gets smaller and faster with each phase. I obviously went over the first 2 phases, so now I'm going to show you how to get through the other 8 phases. They are the following. Also, I will be referring to the potato-fied mobs as their original counterparts: 3 zombies, 4 spiders, 5 strays, 6 creepers, 7 piglins, 8 ghasts, 9 plague whales, and 10 giants. How you want to counter these mobs is like this. For the first 8 phases, you're going to want to strictly use your bow to kill the mobs from afar, and you're going to want to make a little hidey hole for yourself so you can hide and eat your golden apples when you're low on health. If you don't do this, then the mobs will keep attacking you when you need to heal. Once you are done killing all the ghasts, jump into the main part of the Colosseum and use your axe to manually hit the mega spud. You will need to do some chasing because, like I said earlier, the further you progress through these phases, the smaller and faster the mega spud gets, and eventually it will become too small and fast to hit with a bow or any kind of ranged weapon. Once you get to the plague whales, you're going to want to jump in the main part of the Colosseum and attack the plague whales with your axe. Once you've killed all the plague whales, you're going to want to quickly find shelter and use your bow again. This is because we're about to deal with the giants, and they're extremely big and can deal a lot of damage very quickly, so if you can, go back inside the walls of the Colosseum ASAP, and shoot at the giants from afar. Once you've completed all these steps and took the things and information I told you to bring with you, you should end up with a dead mega spud, aka a mashed potato. I hope you enjoyed and learned from this video because I had a lot of fun making it. As with any other video on this channel, I've been working on this video for days and I'm so excited to finally put it on YouTube. Anyways, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you later. Bye.